the media director here for the bowl game. 22nd Annual Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl, 11:04 Central official kick tomorrow. This is the trophy here. If you've read about it, has parts of all 6 branches of the military inside of it. So that's in the DNA. All the parts that are inside were produced by Lockheed Martin. So if you want shots of that later or have questions, we do have Lockheed Martin representatives as well. They're happy to talk about the trophy and the game itself. So with that being said, we'll start with Coach Venables, just an opening comment, and then we'll open it up for questions.
All right, well, good morning and Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. I just want to thank the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl for having us. The hospitality here at the Omni Hotel has been fantastic. Had a great week, very short week of work. Practiced at the Burleson Centennial High School just down the road, so appreciate their staff for hosting us and making things really smooth for us. Thankful for our players, their focus, the work that they've put in here this week, and the leadership that we have on this team. Thankful for, we got a couple of our players here today, Troy Everett and Kobe McKenzie, 2 really good players on offense and defense for us, and the things that they represent as well. Got 56 scholarship players that are available to play in this game, and 12 on offense and 12 on defense will be freshmen. Really what I love about this group of guys is the improvement that they've made throughout the year with the opportunity they've been given. I'm excited to see Mike Hawkins come back close to home. Fort Worth is not considered Dallas, I've been told, but I kind of put it all together there. It's within arm's reach, but going to be cool to have Mike back here in front of his friends and family. Got several Texans here, like Navy. Also, I'd like to just congratulate Coach Newberry and the Navy football team for an outstanding year. They're a lot of fun to watch. You know, the win that they had against Army, I know on a lot of levels that was a huge win, but you know, love the passion and the toughness that they play with, the discipline, their ability to execute. They've got some of the best players in college football on their team. The quarterback is #1 rated, I believe, running quarterback in the country. And so really excited about the matchup and the challenge that they'll present for us.
I'd also like to thank the Armed Forces Bowl, Brent, Scott, Monty, the whole crew. Hospitality's been phenomenal. Accommodations have been phenomenal. I want to thank Coach Barrett at Kennedale High School for letting us use their outstanding facility. We're super excited to be here. You know, I ran to Brent this summer at our conference meetings and had a good conversation with him and was hopeful that we may have an opportunity to play in this bowl. Obviously love everything that it represents, putting the spotlight on our men and women in our military, and to be a part of that is really special for us. We're ecstatic to be here, you know, to be back in Texas, to be in the great city of Fort Worth. We've got 30 players on our roster from Texas, so this is great recruiting grounds for us, as I know it is for Oklahoma as well. And to be playing in this bowl game against a storied program like Oklahoma is a phenomenal opportunity, and obviously a huge challenge for us. But I have a tremendous amount of respect for Coach Venables and his staff and the job they've done. You know, I've got deep roots in the state of Oklahoma. Grew up a big time Sooners fan. You know, we've been playing the Boomer Sooner song at practice, and it gives me chill bumps every time I hear it. And I don't want to hear it a bunch on Friday, but I love it, and I always root for the Sooners. Friday will obviously be an exception, but I couldn't be more excited about being here and looking forward to the game on Friday. It's going to be a great challenge for us, but a wonderful opportunity as well. Have our 2 captains here with us, Daba Fofana and Colin Ramos, 2 outstanding young men that represent everything that the Naval Academy and our football program are all about. So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, excited to be here. Can't wait, looking forward to Friday.
All right, thank you. We have Lauren on this side and Grant on this side to pass out mics. Let me just click a button here. So just raise your hand and we'll get you going. Hold on one second. All right.
Bailey with the Tulsa World. Brent, I wanted to ask you, with Coach Arbuckle working with the team during these practice sessions, how much was that going to help? And are you already seeing an impact with him, with the players, with the offense, just in this limited amount of time?
Yeah, it's been here for a couple of weeks. He's been able to run the Indy drills. I think probably the most important piece of this, transitionally speaking, is his ability to start to develop the relationships, understand, what his quarterback can do and where we got to get better. Certainly he's been able to evaluate those types of things working with him. But I think probably this biggest impact is developing the relationships, before we get into 2025.
Brent, George Stoya, SoonerScoop.com. Since we last talked to you guys, you've signed quite a few guys in the transfer portal. Just wanted to ask you about John Mateer, the quarterback. What's he bring to the table for you guys? What was that recruitment process like? And just how much does it help that he knows Ben's system?
Well, again, excited about John. I'm going to try to keep this to the game that's in front of us right now. But John's a leader. He's experienced. He's got great arm talent, really good instincts, and he'll make us better.
Gary Trammell with the Tulsa World. If you come to a bowl game with an 8-4 record, you win, you're 9-4, you lose, you're 8-5. Come to a bowl game with a 6-6 record. If you win, you have a winning season. If you lose, you have a losing season. How big is this game just for the perception of winning season, losing season?
I don't, really look at it that way. It's the next game. It's the biggest game of the year. It's what's right in front of us right now. We put everything we got into winning this game. We have confidence through the work that we've put in, and can it create some momentum? Maybe you could say that. Certainly have lost games the last game of the year and then have won it all the next year. So, but I do believe in, another opportunity for, again, our young football team will pay, huge dividends, a different type of challenge, as we've already talked about with the triple option. And but an opportunity for this team to continue to grow, develop, and get better, both for this year. Finishing on a high note is really important for us internally, and again, going into our out of season program, I think it would bode well.
Coach Newberry, Bo Carter with Sports Page Dallas. Talk a little bit about your Baylor roots and also winning the last Southwest Conference for Baylor in '94. How's that helped you with Texas recruiting?
I just think it's helped with the familiarity with the state, and I've had a lot of different jobs where I've been responsible for recruiting the state of Texas, so know it very well. Obviously, it's phenomenal football coaches in the state of Texas. It's as good as it gets down here, so it's good to have that background. A great time at Baylor. I obviously grew up in Oklahoma City, went to Westmore High School, and grandparents lived in Waco, so it was a pretty neat deal how that worked out, and was part of Grant Taft's last recruiting class. Still keep in touch with Coach Taft, phenomenal human being, and great experience there at Baylor, and enjoyed my time.
Mason Young with the Tulsa World. Brent, you're going to have a lot of freshman receivers that are going to have an opportunity to have an impact on this game. Just what kind of growth have you seen from those guys in these bowl prep practices?
Well, and again, saw a lot from the freshmen all year. I think we have 24 scholarship players available on offense, and 12 of them are freshmen. And so whether the offensive linemen, or certainly the receivers, at tight end, certainly at quarterback and running back, they're sprinkled at every position. And watch these guys have grown up through their opportunity. I've watched them fail and learn from it, bounce right back. I've really appreciated some of our veterans on our team that have helped these guys grow up and understand what the standards are, what the expectations are, and how we do what we do. I think is more important than what we do. And so from that standpoint, going into next year, that'll really be huge. But the last couple of weeks, you can see the growth where these guys started the year, where they individually got their different opportunities and where they are. We spoke about this in post-practice yesterday, the growth, where we were at the beginning of the year, the middle of the year to where we're at now. I believe in the last 5 games, we led the SEC in rushing. Even some of those receivers had something to do with that as they're blocking as well. But this is a group of guys that have really grown up, and, all their best football still in front of them.
On the side, Brent, stick with those freshmen. I know we talked about Devon Mitchell back in Norman before you headed out, but now that he's put together that full body of work of bowl prep, all that stuff, he's put himself in a position to make an impact tomorrow, and how has he kind of taken this advantage or this opportunity with?
Yeah, he's gotten better. He's put his head down, he's gone to work, and he's improved, learning, and knowing what to do. To me, there's no excuse not to know what to do. And the coach can't want it more than the player wants it for himself. And so he's really plugged in, put his head down. He's come to work every day. He's a devastating blocker, potentially. And again, he's got great soft hands as well, and incredibly talented. And Jake Roberts has done a really good job. Caden Helms has done a really good job of helping, him and his growth and maturation over the last few weeks.
Hey, Brent. Sorry, have to stand up. Can't see you behind the laptop. John Hoover, Sooners on SI. 2-part question for you about quarterbacks. One, I know you want to stick to the game and all that for tomorrow, but I got to follow up on Mateer. The process of landing him, the excitement, the moment, all that stuff of him committing to Oklahoma, and then from Hawkins' perspective, his whole thing about I'm here, I want to be here, and he's embracing that challenge. I wonder if you could talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, keep it brief, just kind of on task here. But again, John, he grew up here in Dallas area and very familiar with Oklahoma. Certainly Coach Arbuckle coming. There's a great familiarity and comfort for him. But, we're incredibly thankful. He, chose to be a Sooner. It's a very competitive space, as everybody knows. Appreciate, the coaching staff for, what they were able to do and convincing him to come and just improving that room. We had to really start over in that room, and it's in a much different space now than what it was just a couple of weeks ago, as we know.
Hey, Brent, Jenny Carlson with the Oklahoma. Wanted to ask you about Michael specifically. Obviously, this bowl prep is hugely advantageous to your first string quarterback. I'm curious what you've seen out of him, and then just getting another game under his belt, how important that is for somebody at his stage in his career.
Yeah, no doubt. And the more you play, the better you get. You go through the good and the bad, everything that you got to go through in order to develop. And Mike's taking it like a pro. He's the same guy every day. He's a quiet leader, but he's ultra consistent, very competitive. Focused and locked in. He's got a maturity about him that is priceless, and he values practice reps. What that the mindset that you got to have and what that means for you on game day, and understands that you play the game well before the game happens. And so I appreciate that mindset that he possesses, and that bleeds over into the other guys around him as well. And but the guys that we do have some veterans that have really helped him and embraced him. I think the defensive players as a group have also really helped his growth and maturation and his confidence along the way. And then I think the staff has done a really nice job at supporting Mike and helping him grow up.
Ryan Aber from the Oklahoman. Brent, you touched on it a little bit, just the dynamics of being a part of this team and also turning the page a little bit toward the future. How have you seen that shift, especially here in the transfer portal era? How do you feel about it, and how has that changed just the bowl experience?
Well, obviously where we're at today is different than where we started the season from a roster standpoint. We're like most people, not named Navy. I'm assuming I haven't done any homework, but I assume they don't have any transfer portal issues or opt-outs. But tongue in cheek here, and I'm not complaining. The calendar is not conducive to keeping your team together from start to finish, and I don't blame one player. for guys that have chosen to go find another opportunity for whatever reason, whether it's a processing mechanism or it's, just I got to go find a new home and I still want to play, or I want to go somewhere where maybe I can have more opportunity. Maybe there's more value. Whatever reason it is, our system is set up in such a way that that's what they're forced to do. So, I have no issues with that. You just do the best that you can with what you have, and my focus is on the guys that are here. We do have 67 scholarship players that are still here. 11 of them, I believe it's 11 of them, are not available because of injuries, or we have 2, Danny and Billy, that are going to be with us, but they've chosen to move on to their professional careers, and just very thankful for their All-American seasons and everything that they've invested in this program and helping us, those 2 in particular, rebuilding the defense that just a few short years ago, we were playing well below the standard of defense here at the University of Oklahoma. So really appreciate all the work and the commitment, the leadership that they've invested to help us reestablish, our defensive identity. And certainly we're not anywhere close to, the vision that we have, but boy, have we turned it around in just a couple of years because of many guys, but those 2 guys, in particular, as well as a couple of the guys in Woody Washington and Ethan Downs in particular, those guys that came in with Billy and Danny and have played huge roles for us in improving on defense and, again, developing some high standards on that side of the ball. But I'm just thankful for the guys that are still here, that have continued to work and sacrificed and continue to believe in themselves and certainly one another to give us an opportunity to, to finish the year, on a high note, and then again moving forward foundationally, I guess have a tremendous foundation of both some veterans and a bunch of youth. I think we played over 8,000 reps, as I think I talked about a few weeks ago, with freshmen and sophomore this year, and that'll pay huge dividends in the few portal additions that we've added. My expectations, those guys will come in here and make us better from the moment, that they've said boomer. So we're counting on that. There'll be a few more on offense. Don't have many needs. We have tremendous retention on the defensive side of the ball. And again, the way it is now, if you're in the past, you could develop really good, strong depth. And, you could hoard depth to some degree, but everybody was doing it, at their own level. And now I think, for guys, I think what they're looking for from both value, opportunity to be a starter and, moving forward to be able to pursue an NFL career. I think some of those things, I think we're in an environment that really nurtures, my opportunity as opposed to my opportunity along with the team. And I'm not complaining, but it's harder than it's ever been to build team. And but we're as focused as we've ever been on building team and a winner, both. And so again, looking forward, again, I love where we're at on defense, what we have returning. I think, there's a tremendous foundation there, along with some of the high school guys that we've signed, and which is a huge part of our focus. And then same thing on offense, what we have returning, the high school players that we signed just a couple of weeks ago, and then with the portal additions that we've already announced, and a couple more that we're looking forward to, and a couple of the additions in the kicking game, to build our team for next year. Really felt like we were taking care of the ball, if we're better there, and just play consistently at quarterback, good quarterback play. If we get those 2 things, those were the 2 areas that, to me, need the most improvement. And if we do those things, then we'll have an opportunity to compete at the very highest level in the SEC.
Coach Newberry, Brian Estridge, Bowl Season Radio. 2 questions for you. One is, can you talk about this senior class who already know what their job is when they leave the academy, who have been with you for 4 years, and what it's like now for an opportunity to win 10 games and what that'll mean for them? And then secondly, the fact that you've been on the road for, the last 9 weeks or so, how does that prep you for this bowl game?
Sure. Well, thanks for the question. starting to wonder why I was up here. Just kidding. I don't mind Coach Venables handling all these questions. It's a special class of men, 24 guys, and they've been through a lot, and they've stayed the course. They've fought through adversity. They stayed with us. They believed in what we're doing. They bought into what we're doing. And, we talk about deserving success all the time. And it doesn't mean that you always get it in the outcome. And these guys have certainly done that. And so it's rewarding for me to see those guys have success in the outcome on the field. And obviously for us to win the CIC, it's the most important goal in our program. Have the opportunity to play an Armed Forces Bowl and to get a 10th win. There's only been 5 other Navy teams that have had double-digit wins in the history of the Academy. So it's an opportunity for our guys to make a little history. They talked a lot about leaving a legacy in the offseason. It's a senior class. It's got a ton of pride, and they've done everything the right way. And I couldn't be more excited about and pleased with the season we've had, in large part because of those guys and the standard that they've set and left for the younger guys. And your second question, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, it's an interesting layout for the season. I think having those road games, being in some pretty hostile environments, it was a great experience for our football team, and hopefully it'll pay off a little bit on Friday.
From the Baltimore Sun and Capital Gazette newspapers, just along the lines of what you just said, obviously all the attention here at this press conference is on Oklahoma.
Sure.
I'm probably the only reporter here that's covering Navy. And I'm guessing if it holds true at the game tomorrow, the fans are going to be overwhelmingly Oklahoma. Does that just further the underdog mentality of Navy football for this game?
Sure. Now, really excited about this game. It's an incredible venue. Sounds like it's a sellout crowd, which is going to be great. And I'm sure, 3/4 of that crowd is going to be wearing red. But it's going to be a great environment, a hostile environment probably for us. We'll have some supporters there too. I think we travel really well, and so our players are ecstatic about the opportunity to play a program like Oklahoma, one of the most storied programs in college football. Just have the opportunity to be on the field with those guys is obviously a great challenge, but obviously a great opportunity for us as well.
Joe Masato with the Oklahoman. Brian, you've coached and played at different schools outside of the service academies, obviously. Can you just sort of give us an idea of what life is like for your guys, your players that may just be different than, a college football player at places outside of the academies?
Yeah, it's tell you what, the Naval Academy is a special place, and they've always kind of been unicorns, in college football, even more so today. There's some things that we're somewhat protected from, we don't have to worry about. Coach Venables has talked about it a lot. Not jealous of those challenges that those guys face, and so for us, we're still a developmental program. We're going to recruit guys that come in as a freshman. The guys that we recruit that come to the Naval Academy, it's about more than just football, which makes it special. Obviously, there's a special kind of young man that is admissible into the Naval Academy academically. It's got to be able to play Division I football and wants to and is willing to serve their country, and that makes them unique and very different. But we've got great young men in our program. I say it all the time. I feel like I've got maybe one of the best jobs in the country because of the type of young men that I get to coach every day, and also to have the honor and the privilege of developing or helping develop young men that are going to lead in our military and serve our country is a great privilege and responsibility. And exceptional young men in our program. Naval Academy is a special place. There's no doubt about that.
I wanted to ask you about Torrin Smith. I know he hasn't played for you this year, but having played with his dad in high school and now coaching his son, what's that dynamic kind of like for you?
Yeah, pretty neat. Brad Smith was a good friend of mine. He was a year younger than me at Westmore High School. Was a great offensive lineman at Tulsa. So Torrin's got some good bloodlines, and excited to have him on our football team.
Jesse Crittenden, OU Insider. Brent, you talked a lot about the especially on defense, a lot of those freshmen are in that secondary with Jaden and Mike and Jeremiah, some of those guys, just especially without Billy and a couple of those veterans for this game. Just how important is this game for some of those freshmen in that secondary?
Yeah, again, great opportunity across the board, really at all three levels for freshmen that are sprinkled in. So the practices have been great. I think because of a couple of the guys that are no longer here, it's created more of a sense of urgency, required more attentiveness, if you will, and the details that go along with playing at a really high level. And so no question that the last few weeks and all the reps that those guys have been able to get will pay, again, huge dividends, not only for this game, but in particular, moving forward to next year. But guys up front, guys like, Taylor Wine or Danny Okoye in particular, or David Stone, those guys, James Nesta, he's been, taking reps, at linebacker, with the defense, and where he's been on a scout team, all year. So guys like that, and then again another couple of weeks for Boganowski and Jaden Hardy, who we feel are going to be outstanding players. Or you look outside at Jeremiah Newcomb and Day. Those guys have really benefited from not just watching guys take reps at practice, but actually going out and kind of living and dying in all the moments that the last couple of weeks, have done for our guys. Mm-hmm.
Hey, Brent. George Stoya, Soonerscoop.com again. Just want to ask you about Deion Burks. I don't think we've talked to you since he made his announcement that he's coming back. How big of a boost was that, especially at that position? And then also just a quick follow-up. Have you heard from R. Mason Thomas and his decision on if he might want to leave after this year?
So getting Deion back, he's, when healthy, he's a fantastic player. And as we spoke about him throughout the last calendar year, he's one of the best competitors that we have on the team. He's got a very dynamic skill set to play both outside and inside alike, and just a great weapon for any offense to have. And then R. Mason, again, I'll let him talk to everybody whenever he wants to talk to everybody, but I know he's going to be lining up for us in this game, and look forward to that. And in his leadership, how he's grown as a leader, certainly his improvement as a player, really, again, proud of the leadership that he's been able to exemplify for all of our players, and his commitment, from beginning to end is as good as it gets. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Brian, Barry Trammell, Tulsa World. The college football calendar is getting condensed. A lot of people want to take that second Saturday and start the playoff. That's the date, of course, that Army Navy have been playing, and it's really turned out well for you guys. How important is it that if you're able to keep that as sort of a showcase date for your game, unencumbered from a playoff?
Yeah, I think it's incredibly important to maintain the integrity of that game and when it's played, at the time that it's played. Such a great opportunity to focus and put a spotlight, on our men and women in the armed forces, our military, and I would hate to take away from that, So I love that they preserved the integrity of that game this year, and hopefully we'll be able to do that moving forward, because I think it's a really important football game for a lot of reasons.
Brian, Chris Mykoski, Bowl Season Radio. A lot has been made about Oklahoma's depth chart and how things have changed, different personnel. So how does that affect your preparation for this one, not being able to look at certain individuals maybe as much as you would in other matchups?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a challenge, a little bit precarious, trying to go through the two deep and kind of figure out, who you're playing against. I know that it's a tough time transitionally for Coach Venables and a lot of staffs. I won't say I have sympathy for it. I guess I kind of do, but I tell you what, I don't think we've got a player on our roster that had an Oklahoma offer, coming out of high school, and so I do know that they've had some time to prepare. I know there's a lot of talented players in the program here at Oklahoma, and they're going to be chomping at the bit, something to prove, and I think we're going to see a hungry Oklahoma football team on Friday. So it's going to be a great challenge for us, regardless.
Yeah, Brent, Colton Sully with the Oklahoman. You touched on it a little bit earlier with Coach Arbuckle being here and being around the team. When you and Jeff and Ted got here a couple years ago, you guys were, observing for most of the Alamo Bowl. Just how important was it for you to have him on the sideline during the game, just building relationships, like you said?
Well, again, under the circumstances, he's done a fantastic job of just getting right in the middle of it, and bleeding into the rest of the staff, figuring out, learning a new language, not an easy thing. It's just coaching quarterbacks, it's just coaching ball, but there is some hurdles that he's had to kind of get through in order to do an effective job for Mike and the rest of the offensive staff. So I think it's been great for the staff from a cohesion standpoint and a chemistry standpoint, getting to know one another, for him to be able to observe and figure out all the moving parts that there are on that side of the ball, both player-wise and from a staff standpoint as well. Again, same thing with if Coach Johns had finished out the year, he all that experience, the day-to-day grind of getting ready for a game, you wouldn't be able to have that. So that's invaluable.